Ohai. Narva. The city in Estonia. City municipality, third most populated city of the country and the largest city of the county Ida-Virumaa. Mainly Russian-speaking. Has rich history as the Prinorovia center and great political and economic value for a modern Russian-Estonian relationship. The population -61075 people. For January 1, 2022. Geographical location. Narva is located on the left riverbank Narva. 1012 came from the Mav, on border with Russia opposite to Ivangard, in 20 came from Kingisepp, in 152 came to the west of Street. Petersburg and in 210 came to the east from Tallinn. The island of Krangolm on the river Narva. Being a part of the city and on which the well-known Krangolmski manufactory is located is the most east island of Estonia. The most east point of the country is in the territory of the line pole at the river. Climate. Average annual air temperature -4.9 C. Average speed of wind -3.8 m/s. Relative air humidity -80%. History. The important role in the history of Narva was played by her border arrangement. At the beginning of the 13th century, northern Estonia was taken by Danes, up to a natural geographical boundary, the Narva River. In 1492, for fight against Livonia, the Grand Duke Moscow Ivan III constructed opposite to Narva the Ivangard fortress. During the Livonian War, Narva was taken by the Russian troops on May 11, 1558. The Tsar Ivan the Terrible planned to make Narva the large trade and military port of Russia on the Baltic Sea. In the city, Orthodox churches were constructed. For 23 years of the Russian board, and moved many Russian merchants and handicraftsmen. The Narva trade with the cities of northern Germany, Denmark, Holland, France and England became very profitable and quickly developed. However, for the Swedish kingdom and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, appearance of Russians in the Baltic Sea was extremely undesirable because of what both states entered war. In the Battle of Wenden on the Livonian battlefield there came the change. In August 1579, Swedes made the first attempt to seize Narva, but receded, having lost about 400 people. During a siege of 1581, Swedes, however, managed to seize the city. Then in about 700 Russian citizens were cut out. In 1590, Narva was besieged again by the Russian army. In 1595, between Russia and Sweden, the Tuvinsky peace, on which Russia forever refused claims on the cities of Narva and Revel, but I received all lands to the east of the Narva River, was made. I began Northern War with attempt to win Narva. The Russian army besieged the city, but 19 November 1700 was broken by the Swedish troops. Only 9 August 1704 the Russian troops took Narva. As a result of Estliandia and Lithuania's northern war sent to Russia that was fixed by the Nystatsky Peace Treaty of 1721. In 1719 the Revel province was formed. At the same time Narva remained in the Street. Petersburg province. Later Narva was brought from provincial submission, and since 1802 was a part of the Street. Petersburg province again. After the basis of fortresses Kronstadt and Sveaborg, Narva lost the strategic importance. To the middle of the 19th century, Narva became the large center of the textile industry thanks to the basis by 850. Seglets of cloth and Napridilny factories, and also two emergence of the Kręgolmskie manufactory. Among founders of a manufactory were Ludwig Knopp, Kozma Terentьевич Soldatenkov, Alexey Ivanovich Fludov, Richard Vasilievich Barlav, Ernst Fedorovich Kolb. In 1870, through the city, the Baltic Railroad, which connected the ports of Revel and the Baltic port on Baltic 2 Street, Petersburg, and the line of the Nikolov Railroad ran. The railway station and the bridge through Narva were built. After overthrow of provisional government, the Narva Town Council continued negotiations already with the government of the Soviet Russia, and on November 14, 1917 sent to Petrograd the application on allocation of Narva from structure of the Yamburg County and her transfer to the Estonia province. On November 16, 1917 the request was granted. After defeat of Germany in World War I, the Red Army captured on November 28, 1918 Narva, and then developed approach deep into Estonia. In Narva occupied with Red the Estonian Soviet Republic existed 52 days was proclaimed. On January 19, with assistance of the Entente Armed Forces of the Republic of Estonia and the Russian Skov voluntary case took Narva. Under the peace treaty between the Soviet Russia and Estonia, signed on February 2, 1920 in Tartu, Narva remained as a part of Estonia. On August 6, 1940 Narva as a part of the Estonian SAR was annexed to CCC. In modern Estonia and some other countries, this day is considered the beginning of the Soviet occupation. During World War II, on August 17, 1941 it was occupied by the German troops. It is released during the Narva operation. During war, the old city was strongly destroyed during actions of the Soviet aircraft and also at retreat of Germans by their special engineer teams. After war, Narva, as well as Tallinn, was among 32 cities registered by the State Committee for Architecture of the USSR. Despite plans for restoration of the old city, the destroyed buildings weren't preserved, and in the early 50s clearing of the territory under construction of standard houses began. The part of buildings nevertheless was restored subsequently. A town hall, in which the Palace of Pioneers was located, and on the third floor there was a photocircle. The Livonian Castle with Herman's Tower. Now the Narva Museum is located there. The House of the Officer Meeting and others. In total now 16 buildings of the old city, including the most part of the building of Vladimirskaya Church. Now their Office of Children's Stomatology. Some of these buildings are under protection of the state remained. At the collapse of the USSR in 1990-1991 in the Estonian part Prinarovia, the ideas expatiated on declaration of the Narva Republic. Prinarovsky. In the summer of 1993, according to the decision of City Council in Narva, and also in Sillamäe, the referendum on autonomy was held. According to official figures, the majority supported autonomy. However, there were claims of falsifications. Population. In 1897, the native language at 44.1% of residents was the Estonian, 43.5% Russian, 6.0% German, 2.8% Yiddish. By results of a census of 1934, the population of Narva was distributed on ethnic groups as follows, including Evangert. Estonians minus 64.8%. The Russian minus 29.7%. Germans minus 2.1%. Jews minus 0.8%. The others minus 2.6%. However, in 1944 were destroyed by the Soviet troops storming Narva and also the receding German troops of 98% of buildings of the city. According to some historians, 85% of this number, 15% for a share of the German troops, fall to the share of the Soviet army. The majority of structures of the old city of Narva after war weren't restored, and most of indigenous people was forced to flee the city or died. Though someone remained in the city and its vicinities till January 1944. About 20,000 people were evacuated by Germans under the threat of execution as inhabitants didn't want to leave. It occurred till March 6 when massive bombing of positions of the German troops, including Narva, began. In the memory of these events in Narva, the memorable stone near City Polyclinic is established. In the old city, right after war, there was a vast Russification of Narva, wherein in Massachusetts order there arrived settlers from internal regions of Russia who built up the city. Actually, anew and already to a census of 1959, Estonians made only 11.3% of the population of Narva. By the end of the 20th century, the specific share of Estonians in the city decreased to 3.9%. In 2008, according to the Narva Development Department and Economy, presented in the collection, Narva in Figures 2008, the share of the Russian population made 80.1%, a share of Estonian minus 3.9%. For January 1, 2009, the population of the city of Narva made 66151 persons, 5% of the population of the country. For January 1, 2014, 62078 people. The square of the city minus 84.54 km. Population density minus 810.5 man/km. For January 1, 2009, in the city lived Russians, 53.3 thousand. About 80.9% of the population of the city. Estonians, 2.6 thousand people. About 3.9%. Ukrainians, about 2.55%. Other nationalities: Belarusians, Tatars, Armenians, Germans, Finns. Minus 2.65%. According to a population census of 2011, 58663 persons, from them 51434 persons. 87.68%. Russians, 3031 persons. 5.17%. Estonians, 4138 people. 7.05%. Other nationalities lived in the city. For January 1, 2014, all 62000 people, from them citizens of Estonia of 46.7%. 29000 people. Citizens of Russia minus 36.3%. 22600. Persons without citizenship minus 15.3%. 9,500. Lived in Narva. In recent years the population of the city decreases. As of January 1, 2021, 53424 people lived in the city. As of January 1, 2021, the share of the population is more senior than 65 years in structure of the population of the city made 25.9% of the population. 13848 people. And the share of the population is younger than 14 years made 13.5%. 7213 people. Russian is the main means of communication. In the official sphere, Russian is also generally used. In the past, the value of the German and Swedish languages was high. Schools of Narva except one Russian-speaking, but the government of Estonia in 2007 academic year began to translate gradually training in high school of the Russian schools into Estonian -60% for the Estonian and 40% in Russian. This innovation, the government wants to improve indicators of arrival of Russian-speaking pupils in the Estonian higher education institutions. The Office of the Union of Association of the Russian Compatriots in Estonia and the Estonian Republican Union of Citizens of Russia works in the city. In Soviet period, the main industries of the city were power, textile, production of building materials, mechanical engineering. In Narva, one of the largest cotton enterprises of the USA, the Krengolmsky manufactory, now almost not functioning, was located. Near the city are constructed Baltic and Estonian State District power plant, using local slates. There were plant of building materials, the foundry and mechanical plant, the enterprises of the woodworking and food industry, now are also closed. From educational institutions, there are a training center, the Narva College of the Tartu University, Estono-Americanski Business College. Till 2013. The Narva Professional Training Center. Deserve attention, the Narva Museum in the Locken Art Gallery. The economic basis of Narva and is made today by power. The power complex of the Narva power plants is the largest employer, where about 600 people work. Also woodworking, production of furniture, building materials were traditional for Narva, now because of Sulis are closed. In Narva, sewing production, metal working, production of the control and measuring and medical equipment and also various industrial equipment is still well developed. Along with large-scale industry, also the enterprises of small and medium business, among which the greatest development was gain trade, processing and the enterprises of services industry work. Total number of the enterprises registered in Narva, more than 2,000. The enterprises with a number working up to 80 people make the bulk. 95%. Of the enterprises operating in the city, at the same time 79% make the enterprises at which the number of working doesn't exceed 10 people. Narva offers firms and the enterprises good conditions for their activity. In the city there is enough compactly located floor spaces, the qualified labor, intracity border with Russia and through traffic to the largest cities of Estonia at street. Petersburg, Moscow, Riga and Pskov. In 2019 the municipality Narva took the last place in size of average gross salaries among 79 municipalities of Estonia. In the city there is a railway station Narva on the Tallinn-Narva line. From educational institutions there are a training center, the Narva College of the Tartu University, the Narva Professional Training Center. Deserve attention the Narva Museum in the Locan Art Gallery. Religion: Russian Orthodox Church. Narva Cathedral, Resurrection Cathedral. Till 1958 Church for the Sake of Resurrection. Temple of the Narva Icon of the Mother of God. Temple of Saints Kirill equal to the Apostles and Methodi. The place of church building is consecrated in September 2012. Protestantism. Lutheranism. The Church for the Sake of the Emperor Alexander II. Alexandrovsky Lutheran Church. Church was constructed near the railroad, around York. On June 21, 1881 laying of the temple took place. On May 28, 1884 consecration of church took place. On June 20, 2000 Ruski Probsko Wolke recognized the Narva Alexandrovsky arrival by the successor to 3 Lutheran parishes existing in Narva before World War II. It was the reason for renaming of church into cathedral. The small church of Alexandrovsky arrival. Now the Narva Mikhailovsky Church, Finnish. Existed since 1962 when the building of Alexandrovsky Church of the Power was turned into a warehouse. I was in the building of the former diesel power plant provided by the authorities on Anvelt Street. 2 houses of worship of Pentecostal evangelists. Seventh-day Adventist Church. Church of Baptists. Church of Methodologists. Salvation Army Church. Kernkolmi, 16A. Jehovah's Witnesses. Hall of the Kingdom of Jehovah's Witnesses. The destroyed churches. St. Michael's Lutheran Church in Narva, the Lutheran Temple, was located on Shirokaya Street. St. Anthony's Church on the military field was near the Old City, Must Street. 9. The Roman Catholic Temple was consecrated on November 11, 1907. It is demolished in post-war years. Only the parish house remained. The Narva Transfiguration Cathedral, originally Catholic temple of the female Cistercian monastery, after remade in Lutheran Church, in 1704 Peter I gave cathedral to the Orthodox community. In 1708 on June 29 the cathedral was consecrated in the presence of the Emperor Peter I. The cathedral is remade from the most ancient Lutheran cathedral of Ion Ierosalimsky. It was one of 2 Lutheran churches turned into Orthodox churches, and still earlier, from the moment of construction in the 14th century, it was the Catholic Church in honor of the Maiden Maria. The cathedral was the oldest city church. For the first time construction it is mentioned in 1442. In 1944 the cathedral was blown up by Germans. Ruins are demolished in the 1950th years. The street. Nicholas Church adjoining to Transfiguration Cathedral and being in one church fencing with it. The Vladimir Temple is put on July 16, 1889 in a northern part of the Old City, consecrated on July 29, 1890 by the Vicar of the Diocese of St. Petersburg the Bishop Ladogor Mitrofen for the sake of the Prince Vladimir equal to the Apostles. In 1921 at the Vladimir Temple arrival, which in 1937 united with Parish of Transfiguration Cathedral, was created. Now the building of the former temple is reconstructed, the office of dental polyclinic is placed there. The Church of the Transfiguration, constructed in 1859, wooden regimental church in the territory of the big western yard of Narva Castle. I was called also Alexander Nevsky Church. From 1858 to 1883 I was regimental church of the 94th Infantry Yenisei and 96th Infantry Omsk Regiment. And since 1892, Nicholas the Wonderworkers Church. Regimental Church of the 92nd Infantry Pekiorsky Regiment. The bell tower at church is built and consecrated in 1891. A massive image of Saint Nicholas of the Wonderworker in a silver cope, built by regiment ranks in 1892 in memory of wonderful rescue of the successor of Crown Prince on April 29, 1891, was distinguished from many images of the regimental temple. In the same 1892 on the means offered regiment ranks the bell, weighing 30 poods, is built. 491.4 k. In 1925 the church stopped existence. The iconostasis and the most part of church property were transferred to Committee of Iversky Female Labor Community for Monastic Church. The Bogroditsky Church in Rugodiva is constructed by order of Ivan the Terrible in Rugodiva. I was in a northeast part of Vigorodskaya Street about an old fortification. The church worked from 1558 to 1581 and, probably, sometime after 1581. The location of church is specified on the plan of Narva of 1900. In the list of an explanation of the plan of the existing buildings at No. 12 the church house is designated, practically opposite to him through Razdolnaya Street, and once Bogroditsky Church was located. Church of the Resurrection in the Livonian Castle in Vegoroda, according to other data Street. Nicholas Wooden Church was also constructed by order of Ivan the Terrible. Placed Nikolai Ugodnik's icon, which was found in 1558 after the fire in Narva, not of the victim, in church. In 1581 Narva was taken by Swedes in street. Nicholas Church was sorted. The icon was given to Russians, who placed it in Church of the Assumption in Evangard. When the Yona Ierasalimsky Temple in Narva was renamed into Transfiguration Cathedral, 1704. To him attached a side altar for the room of a wonderworking icon of Nikolai Ugodnik. On July 22, 1585 the Swedish King Yakon III granted to Narva special privileges and the coat of arms favourite. In the form of a stamp board with a frame in the form of an angel. Above over a board. And horns of plenty. At the left and on the right on edge of a board. On the most stamp board 2 fishes. Railings. Over them, a sword between 2 kernels, and below a sword and under him a kernel are represented on the blue field. The coat of arms of Narva is approved on May 7, 1780. Official description of the coat of arms. In the blue field, above a naked sword, and about him on 1 gun kernel, in the middle 2 silver fishes, under them a sabre and under it a kernel. On May 28, 1935 the Narva City Meeting restored a municipal coat of arms of a sample of 1585, with an angel and horns of plenty around a stamp board. Narva consists of 3 parts. The city of Narva, Kadrukula Holguin, also concerns her small quarter anniversary. The total area of Narva minus 84,583,005 m. 8458 hectares. From which under the city of Narva of 78,394,766 m. 7840 hectares. Under a city part of Kadrukul of 5,606,739 m. 560 hectares. Under garden cooperatives, Olchinski and Bryaska minus 58.15 hectares. In the city of Narva 123 streets, from which 23 were renamed after detaching of Estonia from the USSR. In the Kadrukulaski part over 120 streets. Near Holguin 23 streets. In Anniversary minus 3 streets. In borders of Narva there are also about 90 garden streets. Now the city of Narva consists of 11 areas and 3 more certain areas. Sutkov, Pikelimia, Kalivi, Vanillin, Tuyoa, Ceres, Soldino, Krengolm, Pimura, Kolgu, Vikolgu and Electrium, and also Holguin, Kadrukul and Anniversary. Till 2002 the city of Narva was divided into 16 residential districts. Earlier in Narva there were following areas: Sidalin, Petri, Narva, Tuyoor, Krengolm, Siversti, Tukadastik and Piamur. Restoration of old Narva demands big money which can't select either the city budget, or the Estonian state, nor even the European Union. Vanillin, the historic center of Narva. Near Vanillin there live 3,400 people, and in Jorge 750 people. Both areas adjoin Narva. In Jorge there are recently restored Narva Cathedral, Resurrection Cathedral and Alexandrovsky Lutheran Church, railway station, a monument, the Swedish Lion, a part of a bastiony complex, the vacation spot Lipovka. Park and City Beach Narva includes both inhabited and industrial facilities. Kangelast is the biggest district of the city on population. In the area there live over 21,000 people, that makes nearly 30% of the total number of the city. Kangelast is located in a northern part of the city. Kangelast consists mainly of standard Soviet high-rise buildings of 1970th and 1980th. Soldino. Population of 12500 people. Ceres. Population of 8,500 people. It is located in the central part of the city. Kolav. Population more than 7,000 people. Arrangement. Downtown. Sakov. Consists partially of skyscrapers, but there is also a country complex. Kolgu and Elektriama industrial regions. Kadrukula Anniversary and Vikolgu consist of country complexes. Tupiamur. Tupiamur is in the southwest part of Narva. The area consists of the private sector. Generally in the territory of the area there are 1-story and 2-storied private houses. Olchina is separately from the others. It is more than private sector than skyscrapers. There is a small local airfield. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.